Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media. Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us deep into the remote wilderness of central Alaska, 50 miles north of Eureka, near the mighty Oshetna River. The region north of Eureka is characterized by expansive boreal forests, meandering river channels, and a landscape shaped by glacial forces and natural erosion. The Oshetna River, with its swift currents and broad banks, cuts through the wilderness, creating pockets of both fertile hunting grounds and perilous terrain. In mid-September, the weather is in transition. The lingering warmth of summer yields to crisp, early winter air, with sudden mists and occasional rain showers, adding a layer of unpredictability to the already challenging environment. Plant life here includes forests of white and black spruce, birch, and aspen trees, hugged by stands of willow and alder. Delicious berries like blueberry, cranberry, and lingonberry thrive here and are enjoyed by many animals, but are prized by grizzly bears. Wildlife here includes Dall sheep and mountain goats on the high mountains, with moose meandering the meadows. Predators here include wolves, lynx, black bears, and ferocious grizzly bears. Fall hunting trips are a common practice among Alaskans and are an essential part of life to many. Some hunters are subsistence hunters, meaning they hunt to feed themselves and their families. Hunters venture out in the fall, which overlaps with a desperate time for grizzly bears. Salmon are the key resource for bears in Alaska and many other places they range. The yearly migration of fish delivers necessary nutrients and calories to the bears, and competition for the prime fishing areas can be deadly for the bears and the people. Bears fight viciously to defend their fishing spots, meaning the largest or most violent bears get the majority of access. The bears that cannot win and defend prime fishing locations end up scrounging the banks for abandoned salmon carcasses, and may face the brutal reality of death if they do not find enough food to gain fat for winter. On September 19, 1955, as the early autumn light filtered through the dense canopy, Willie McBride was enjoying a hunting trip with his friend Vic Vukovich. McBride was a skilled and experienced hunter who had earned the respect of his peers for his deep knowledge of the land and his survival acumen. He was well known among the local hunting community for his reliability and his ability to navigate the vast, untamed wilderness confidently. Hunting the Alaska backcountry requires that a hunter be comfortable being alone in bear country. Hunting in groups is seen as less productive by some sportsmen, and the solitude of hunting alone is welcome. Being in different locations can allow hunters to pull information about the location of wildlife, leading to a greater degree of success for the party, but being alone in the wilderness also leaves hunters vulnerable to extreme danger. In the morning, Vukovich and McBride set out in search of moose. They stayed together for the initial part of their hike before arriving at a prime location. The hunters agreed to separate, but remained near each other as they hunted. Vukovich had his mind set on watching a broad meadow from a point higher on the hill, while McBride had set his eyes on a similar nearby vantage point. The men agreed to meet back up in a few hours, and parted ways. As McBride pushed his way through the brush along the riverbank, his rifle slung over his shoulder, the eager anticipation of what the day held likely flashed through his mind. The scent of the wilderness invigorated him, as the cool of the morning was chased by the warmth of activity. Small droplets of sweat formed on his skin. It was as if participation in life was key to survival. The more energy he exerted, the more independence he could claim from the cycles fluctuating around him. The rising of the sun chased the shadows of twilight, just as the heat of the day temporarily supplanted the chill of night. What was wet became dry, and life became death. McBride was pulled from his thoughts to reality by the popping of brush only a few yards from him. The willows masked an approaching threat, revealing its presence only after escape was no longer an option. McBride watched as the muscles and fur of a massive grizzly bear rippled with each bound it took toward him. Further up the hill a ways, Vukovich had set up an observation post and had watched for a few hours before deciding to locate McBride. He gathered his possessions and slowly made his way down the hill toward the bear trail along the riverbank. Seeing McBride's boot tracks only having gone upriver, he knew his friend hadn't returned. A short distance up the trail, Vukovich observed a disturbance in McBride's tracks, then a patch of forest stuff torn up. He could see a bloody drag trail leading off the trail and into the bushes a few yards away. This foreboding evidence had told him that McBride had had an encounter with a grizzly and may need his help. Vukovich pressed on and followed the drag trail. He soon came upon the corpse of his friend. McBride's body was covered with blood, spattered on his skin, and exposed patches beneath his tattered clothing. Grief welled up in Vukovich's mind, and he used its energy to retreat for help. After making his way out of the backcountry, Vukovich reported the death of McBride to authorities. He provided important details, and investigators were dispatched to the attack site. Due to the remote location, retrieval of McBride's body and the investigation surrounding his death were complicated, but met with success in the coming days. Based on evidence at the scene, it was determined that Bride and the Grizzly had surprised each other on the river trail. The bear's actions were deemed to be defensive in nature, as it had not consumed any portion of his corpse, nor had it stayed around to defend it as a food cache. Cubs were not reported at the attack site, eliminating their defense as a contributing circumstance in McBride's fatal mauling. Speaking of Cubs, our Cub tier membership on Patreon, linked below, will give you ad-free early access to our episodes, and the $3 per month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce educational and entertaining content like this. The vast expanses north of Eureka near the Oshetna River are home to a robust population of bears. Both grizzly and black bears roam these areas, drawn by the abundance of natural food sources and the shelter provided by dense forests. Although encounters with humans remain relatively rare due to the vastness of the territory, the potential for conflict is ever present in such untamed environments. Bears are naturally cautious of human presence. However, when surprised or threatened, their response can be swift and aggressive. In the case of Willie McBride, the sudden encounter, coupled with the isolation and confined terrain near the river, may have triggered a defensive, life-threatening reaction in the bear. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. What could McBride and Vukovich have done to avoid this tragedy in such a remote location? Was this attack a defensive attack, or could the bear have been defending its fishing access? Would the outcome have been different if the hunters had stayed together, or would that increase the likelihood of both of them being mauled? The tragic story of Willie R. McBride is a sobering reminder of the immense power of nature and the unpredictable dangers that lurk in remote wilderness areas. His fatal encounter near the Oshetna River stands as a testament to the delicate balance between human ambition and the raw, untamed forces of the wild. As we reflect on his loss, we are compelled to re-examine our approaches to safety and to honor the memory of those who've paid the ultimate price for their passion for the outdoors. I will gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it. Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.